Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
Change my ways, too good at getting away with all them games I played. Smooth walker, slick talker, anything I did. Get out of a jam quicker than MacGyver, you did. I think I'm sprung now. I seen a dude up.
God blesses all of us to turn our dreams and ideas into their tangible equivalents. But you have to have the faith, be willing to do the work, and expect the outcome. I'm from Hampton, Virginia. Both my parents are educators. That's been a very significant part of my journey, is education, and specifically libraries. Before I ran anything, I was just this kid who loved technology, who loved cars, and Virginia Tech. And I ended up in the E185.5 section of the Dewey Decimal System. That section, the 185.5, happens to be the section on Black people. So I was there, and I started reading these books about Lewis Latimer and Granville T. Woods and Elijah McCoy, and a light went off. I can do this. I went from the probations list to the dean's list to the board of directors at Virginia Tech. What got me here was reading, was the library, programs like JA that breathe into young people. It opens doors. It opens eyes. It opens your mind, your heart. Once I realized that I could achieve whatever I wanted to, things became very different. I sat down and wrote a 50-year plan, actually a 60-year plan. If things were consistent with my plan, I would consider doing it. If it was not consistent with my plan, I wouldn't consider doing it. And I encourage people to write down that plan. I tell people that if you don't need help, then your vision isn't big enough. One of the most courageous things we do as human beings is just to ask for help. We're not in this alone, and that's part of the message that I want to bring forward. We need programs like JA. We need leaders to show up for organizations like JA. And by doing so, we show up for our communities. We show up for Richmond. We show up for Virginia. We show up for the world. And I'm Exhibit A. It worked for me. To be recognized by an organization like Junior Achievement is extra special because they're my home team. And they are telling me, and anybody who learns of the award, that this person did it right and they did it the right way. Hi, my name is BK Fulton, author of The Blueprint Part 2. It's my latest book. It's 52 essays on successful people, from the founder of Netflix to the producer of March of the Penguins to famous actors like Jeffrey Wright. We wrote this book to give you the blueprint for how these people did what they do. And when you read their stories, not from a fanboy perspective, but from how they got from A to Z, you will have a blueprint for how you can be the best version of you. Check out the blueprint on Amazon, available now.
All right, everyone, welcome to another very special edition of the Leadership and Success Podcast. We've got another living legend waiting for us in the green room. I can't believe this. But before I introduce him, I want to do as is our tradition here, start with what we call a moment of gratitude, right? That is very important for us and for those who follow the show. You know that the reason why we do this is partly because in the military, service members and veterans in this country, they commit suicide every single day, about 21, 22 veterans and service member. And we believe it's not possible to be both grateful and suicidal at the very same time. So if you would just take a moment, you know the drill by now, maybe close your eyes, put yourself in your happy place and take a deep breath and slow down your nervous system and think about one thing that you are grateful for right now. And today, I think I am really grateful just to be in the presence of giants, right? I know a lot of the things I've been able to accomplish in my own life, I didn't do it on my own. I really stood on the shoulders of giants, of those who have gone before me. And we have such a great man today who's willing to really share his knowledge and tell us how in the world he was able to have such an amazing, successful life. And I hope it's going to inspire you today. And my hope as well is part of the reason why I do this. It started about 5 years ago. Okay, I have now achieved my American dream. Now what? And I think all of us need to move right from success to significance. When it's not just about me, myself, and I, but it becomes about the person next to you. How can you help them achieve their dreams? That's what I hope will eventually happen. So without any further ado, let me see if I can properly introduce our guest. I think it could take us probably hours or days to do that, but let me try to be brief. So my guest, BK Fulton, is the definition of a modern Renaissance man. After an extraordinary career as a Verizon executive and attorney, and I think I invited all of the people I knew who work for Verizon. Say hi in the chat, please. And also let us know where you are coming from, what city, what state, and if outside of the country, since this is a global show now, which country as well. And let us know what you are grateful for. And of course, if you have a question for BK, type it in the comments. We're going to be answering live. So back to BK. He really boldly reinvented himself to pursue the work he believes he was made to do. Wow. Today, he is a Tony Award-winning Broadway producer, filmmaker, best-selling author, entrepreneur, technology innovator, and founder of Soulidifly Productions, using the power of storytelling to educate, to inspire, and create lasting impact across generations. His remarkable body of work includes award-winning Broadway production, feature film, children's book, leadership books, and groundbreaking initiatives that bridge business, technology, education, and the arts. Through every chapter of his journey, BK has demonstrated that true success isn't measured by titles, it is measured by purpose, reinvention, and the lives we help transform. Part of what you're going to be learning today is how to courageously reinvent yourself after achieving career success, but also practical advice for executive, entrepreneur, military leaders, and anyone preparing their on next chapter. So without any further ado, please help me welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast, the one and only BK Fulton. Good morning, sir. What a great
Hey, Coach BZ. How you doing, brother?
Talking to you, sir. Wow. I can't believe I'm talking to you right there on my screen. Wow. Okay. Just to get started, sir, what is one thing that you are grateful for today?
All right. I hope I don't have to limit it to one. There are at least two.
Yes.
One is that I woke up this morning. I woke up on the right side of the dirt in my right mind. I recognize myself in the mirror, who I think I'm supposed to be. So I thank God every day for that. And then the second thing I'm grateful for is my bride. Jackie Stone is my rock. She centers me. She inspires me. And I'm a better man because of her.
Wow. And how long have you been married, sir?
12 years. And
Wow.
together for about 14.
What is the secret to your marriage success? I didn't plan to ask this, but I must.
We communicate, we support each other, we laugh together,
Wow.
She's my best friend. She's my proof of God. When I need some
Wow.
help, she's always there. And when she needs some help, I'm always there. I tell people, notwithstanding all the success, my most important job is carrying her bags and making sure she's happy.
Wow, that is just insightful. Wow, thank you for sharing that, sir. Is there something about you that most people may not know? And I mean, we know the myth, the legend, but what about the man? Maybe a superpower or something just unique about you?
Wow, wow. A few things about me people probably don't know. While I have a very public life because of the art, Jackie and I are very private people. But one thing that's been a useful tool for me that most folk, unless they're really close, know about is that I have a photographic memory.
Wow.
So I remember so much of what I see
Mm.
that it can be helpful when I'm studying.
Yes.
And then, but I don't like funerals because I remember the person like
Yeah.
in the casket. And
Wow.
so often I don't go up there. I will remember them like the last time I saw them, and I'll cherish that. I think the other thing that's kind of ends up working out as a superpower is that I don't sleep much. And so I'm trying to figure out different things to help me sleep without making me feel dizzy or zapping my energy. And because I don't have a whole bunch of crazy habits, when I'm awake, I'm writing or reading or
Wow.
learning or trying to figure out how to do something new so I can apply it to something that I want to advance. And so I think I've chosen to use my insomnia as a superpower.
Wow. I didn't know that. Well, I do hope you do find time to rest and sleep. So, kind of like, when you're on the airplane, you kind of have to take care of yourself so you can take care of all of
Yes.
us with all of the art and the inspiration and just the genius. We are so grateful for that. But who is BK Fulton beyond all of the achievements you've had, all of the awards? Who are you to your core, sir?
To my core, I'm just a guy that is crazy enough to believe
Mm,
that any of us can achieve at the highest levels. I think that life is about a pursuit
yes,
of becoming who God made you to be. And none of us come here complete. And
yes.
hopefully we leave here leaving more for others than we've borrowed for ourselves.
Because at the beginning of the show, we started with a moment of gratitude. You said you are grateful for life and for your bride. So let me ask you a different question because I think it's very important to remain in the attitude of gratitude. What my primary mentor, Dr. Maxwell, used to say, your attitude will determine your altitude. He told me that almost 12 years ago. I still
Mhm.
remember it. So the question I have for you, sir, is what are you most grateful for this season of your life? Like this entire
This
season?
this season, I'm having a great season. So
Yes.
I think what I'm most grateful for. I just turned 60 in January, and so this season is a season of harvest. And I come back to the same things we started with, you know, the breath of life,
Mhm.
because you can't do anything without that.
Yes.
And then my bride has been there every step along the way. It's not changing. When you're happy and when you're inspired, you can do things.
So true.
And then, two gathered in his name, God is there with you. And so I feel like God is with Jackie and I, and we are hitting everything we're aiming at. And I can't complain about that. I mean, definitely that the children, we have three sons, and that they are working and independent and working on themselves is a blessing. But I'm
Mhm.
grateful that as long as we have breath, we can fix the things that are broken and
Yes.
enjoy the things that are working. Because sometimes,
Mm.
one of the things that I always admire about uh, people of African ancestry, my ancestors, our ancestors, is that even in the face of doubt, in
Yes.
the face of fear, uncertainty, they still found time for joy.
Mm.
And so we're in a meeting now, and my wife worked all day yesterday. I did some work, and we still found time to go out and enjoy a play, a show last night in this little town we're in. It's at the Shakespeare Theater, and it was quite wonderful. So that there's still a little whimsy
Mm-hmm.
inside us both, even in our 60s, where
Wow.
we choose joy, we choose each other. We
Yeah.
choose not to let things that disappoint us, and there's a
Mm.
lot today that can disappoint us, but we choose not to make that the epicenter of our experience. Instead, we
Wow.
choose to make love the epicenter of our experience.
Yes.
And then you kind of reap what you sow. So we give it out and it comes back to us. It's a beautiful
Ah,
thing.
what a jam. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, with somebody accomplished as yourself, with all of the awards and all of the achievement that you've already contributed, it's almost like, enough for like 1,000 lifetime, in my opinion. But which one of your title of your achievement awards means the most to you? And
Oh, wow. Husband, dad, father, um, that people read the work. I just wrote something for the 4th of July, and people are crying and they're telling me I said what they wanted to say. It's an exploration of the word we in the Constitution.
mm,
And that pronoun is both the hope and the challenge of our American experiment.
yes,
Every generation has to find the humility and the courage to expand who's included in the we a little more. And sometimes uh, leaders or so-called leaders decide that America, the American experiment, isn't big enough for all of the people within its borders.
mm,
And that's nonsense. Uh, we is an idea about humanity, and
yes,
humanity can expand, and that's the beauty of ideas. And the same place that
mm,
once said our ancestors were chattel, then acknowledge a
yes,
descendant of Africa as the first black president of the United States,
yes,
not once but twice. And so, this gives me hope that, my parents were not citizens all of their lives.
mm,
I was a citizen all of my life. And I am excited
yes,
about the opportunity for other citizens to exercise their right to vote to change the
mm,
things that we do not like, that we do not approve of. And that is our systems. There's ebb and flows. There's good days
yes.
and bad. And hopefully, with our help and with our work and with our art, we can have more good days than bad days.
So true. And I know MLK and President Obama have used that a lot too, is about the arc of the universe, right? Bending
Mhm,
toward justice. And
mhm.
that's definitely the hope. No, thank God we are in 2026, not where we used to be, although I think some people are trying to take us back there, but we are moving forward, always moving forward. Wow. Now, one thing you have said a lot is you've spent the first 50 years of your life doing what you were trained to do. And now you are doing what you were made to do. What a statement. What happened inside you that gave you the courage to live an extraordinary executive career and reinvent yourself?
Reading,
Wow.
reading, become leaders. Before I became a person that some people say is worth listening to or that inspires, I was just a kid flunking out of college. There was too many beautiful women. There was too much basketball to play. It was cold on the drill field where I went to college, and I don't like the cold. So I might have missed a class or two. And I went to the library to plan my escape from Virginia Tech.
Hmm.
And I happened upon a book about Lewis Latimer. Now, how do you happen upon a book that changes your life in a library that's
Mm.
5 stories tall and 2 million volumes. I think it was
Wow.
divine intervention. And I picked up this book. I didn't know that black folk had something to do with lights,
Yes.
And the commercial light bulb was essentially invented by Lewis Latimer. He helped Edison to improve the light bulb till we get the commercial one we have today.
Hmm.
And so I read this book, and brother, I went from the probations list to the dean's list to the board of directors of the college, where they're
Wow.
flying me in a jet to help to govern the school. And so
That's
once I
amazing.
had that experience, I said, how can I create that for others
Wow.
and give them that spark moment, that life changing experience that helps them to know that they can be everything God
Mhm.
made them to be? And so
Amazing.
then the writing happened. Then I got the notion that people weren't reading as much. So I said, well, what are they doing? And they're on Facebook and Instagram and
Mm.
LinkedIn and all this social media. They're watching movies. So I was like, well, let me make some movies. So I
Yeah.
recruited some brothers and we figured out how to do that. Then got messed around and got into Broadway and did a little TV. And so at this stage, we try
Amazing.
to identify ways to impact the culture and then go to work.
Now, I must ask you, what was that book that you read that changed everything?
I wish I knew the name of it. It could have been a book called Men of Mark because there were several stories in
Got
the
it.
book.
Eminent,
And
Progressive, and Rising by Richmond.
yeah, and the one I turned to, the one I picked up, it turned to the page about Lewis Latimer, but it had other men in it. I only read the Lewis Latimer thing. That book would come back to me later.
Wow.
So Men of Mark was published in 1887 by Reverend Dr. William Simmons. At
Yes.
the time, he was the president of Kentucky State, and he wrote in the preamble, I noticed over the years that most of my students are woefully unaware of the accomplishments of men and women of our stripes.
Hmm.
If I could show them that these men and women could be successful no more than 25 years out of bondage, they
Wow.
would know that they could be successful too. And so he died before he wrote the book on women. But I didn't
Wow.
really get serious about this book until I was in my 50s.
That's amazing.
And so but I had assigned myself to be a student of black history because it was the medicine I needed. And not that stories about other people can't be inspiring. I
Hmm.
mean, we've all been moved by the movie The Odyssey, the latest one by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
It's mopping up at the box office and in IMAX, and that's all well and good. And our community needs the stories about what we have accomplished, what we have achieved, our poems, our soliloquies,
Yes.
our creative medicine that inspires. And as you live, what's important in life is of mirrors and windows.
Mm.
Mirrors are how you see yourself reflected in the world, where you belong. And if you have strong mirrors, stories about yourself, movies, books,
Yes.
this podcast, then you can more easily see through someone else's window.
Mm.
They're human, I'm human, I can do what they did. What
Wow.
you find out is these examples help us. And as a young black man who was in engineering school in college, I didn't know what
Mm.
I needed to know going into that environment early on. And so I was having a bad experience. Then through books like that one and others, I said, oh my God, I can be successful here
Yes.
and turn my life around. And now I want to do that for others. And that's how the production company got started.
That is just amazing. A book could definitely change your life. And just for those who may not know, last year, I think it was May, we started to have a digital bookshelf for this podcast. We started with 4 books. Today, we have more than 600 books,
Wow.
books recommended by people just like you. Well, if you read a book, it could definitely change your life. But many people who may be listening right now. I know. I guess Jeff Bezos is a great example. He was doing very well in Wall Street. He decided to start this silly company called Amazon, and now he's probably the second richest person in the world. But there are some other executives right now. They have big dreams. They dream about a second act, but they never pursue it though. And I think I believe you know him. Miles Monroe is no longer with us now, but he used to say that the richest place in any city is the cemetery. I think Les one, who I know you know, says the same thing, because people die with their dream in them, never having the courage to actually execute on those. So what fears did you have to overcome to become the man you are today?
Wow, that's an interesting question in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm going to answer you directly, but also for the listeners, share a point of view that is my current point of view. And it's been that way for a very long time. Uh, Professional interviewers, professional podcasters like yourself often ask about failures. And, my life has been no crystal stair. So there have been things that I've um, not done as well at when I wanted to do good at them. But you know what? I see failure as more of an outcome to a try. It
Mm,
can get success or you get failure.
yes,
But where it really starts is the try. You have to do the work. And
yes.
so that's where people make mistake. They worry about failing. And I'm of the mindset, if the glass can be half empty, it can also be half full.
Mm,
And so I don't focus on failure. Instead, I'm like, who's been successful? How did they do it? Let me do what they did, and I'll put my own special sauce on it.
yes.
And so I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about writer's block or what's in my way. I ain't worried about none of that, frankly. I'm like, if anybody has done it, I can do it. And so
Mm, mm,
that's a little bit different twist on, oh, my failures made me successful. Sure, we've all heard it all. Edison failed so many times at this and
yeah.
kept trying, and then on the umpteenth try, it worked out. And so I get it, but those tries were feedback.
Yes.
And for me, life is it's either a lesson or a blessing.
Wow.
And so if I jump on it and it works out, blessing.
Yeah.
If I jump on it, don't work out, lesson. I win either way.
Yes.
Either way,
Do you learn more from your successes or your failures?
my successes.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean you learn from both. But if I wanna figure out how to make a car, do I go and study the joker that didn't make a car, that never made a car?
No.
Or do I go talk to the people that got all kind of cars?
Yes.
I know what line I'm gonna be in. It's like people trip me out. They give this kind of bookstore, kind of five and dime advice, something they picked up from somebody, don't even know if the person had good
Mm,
sense or not. And so, I mean, when I tell people how to make their own blueprint, I tell them identify 4 or 5 people that you like,
yes.
that you are impressed with their career, and then read their short bio and
Mm,
take the common denominators for what each of them has done. That's not
yes.
going to be a failure story. That's going to
Mhm.
be a success story because at this stage, life is short. And so it's been what, several billion people on the world living right now,
Mm,
and a whole bunch more over the lifespan of humanity. And so there are a lot of failures to go around, and we could just cut to the chase and go ahead and study
mm,
the success and mimic that. And then as you get older, wiser, you add your own scaffolding to the blueprint you've set out for yourself. And before you know it, you're having success. A well-lived life can be created,
mm. I
and
love that.
and so that's what I do. I mean, a lot of people see the successes across domains: business, art,
Yes.
creative output, writing, and they say, "Wow, how are you doing all those things?" And I never met anybody that could do so much in so many different ways. And I say, "Well, it's I never really think about it, but." I'm really using the same success system
Yeah.
over and over across multiple domains.
Mm,
So, and I borrowed it from author Ash. And what he would say was start where you are,
yes.
use what you have, do what you can. Very simple.
Mm,
And then I like to say, and wash and repeat. And you do that over and over wherever you are. If you start where you are, if
you've
you
got
do
that.
what you can do, and I mean, you use what you have, you're going to win. You're
Yes.
going to win. The trick is in the movement. The trick is in doing. I mean, God blesses all of us
Mm,
to turn our dreams and ideas into their tangible equivalents. But you
yes.
have to have the faith, be willing to do the work, and expect the outcome. And then the magic happens. Once you do, any human being, once you do everything you know how to do,
Yes.
here's the magic and the promise of grace. Everything else shows up. Your
Mm,
faith tradition, your ancestors,
yeah.
God, anyone who's ever loved you, and they conspire to
Wow.
help you to achieve
Mm,
righteous ends. What I have
oh,
come to believe as real, it's been in my own life, my lived experience, is that when I do this, when I do everything I know how to do, there's this manifestation. The right person shows up, the
mm,
right resource shows up, and it can be a little scary at first. I have parking karma, for example, and I warn people that are riding with me. I said, okay, I'm gonna park up front when we get there. They said it was rush hour. Impossible. Nobody parks up front. I pull up, I park right up front. And
yes.
it's like they're like, how did you do that? I was like, turns out your mind believes the stories that you tell it.
Yes.
And the universe is trying to work with you
Mm,
to achieve what you believe you can do.
that's
And
so
so
powerful.
and so what I choose to do is be an ambassador of love and kindness and achievement for my own life too. Because that's the thing.
Uh,
Sometimes people leave they blessing everybody else and forget to pray for their own self. Don't do
yes.
that. Don't do that.
Wow.
Our ancestors made a way out of no way so that we could have these lives. And so when I am taking my lady out or thinking about doing something for my family or my children or my friends, I do a little extra for the people who couldn't experience it.
Mm,
So I might get a piece of cake and get a piece and a half.
yes.
And I want to enjoy some from my great 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 grandfather that I never met, who
Mm,
wouldn't have been allowed to go into that restaurant,
yes.
who
Yes.
who for whom the door was shut and is shut before he could even knock. And now we're going all over the world.
Mm,
And there's a blessing in that. And you've got to take
wow.
time to acknowledge that. I walk in anointed, not afraid.
Yes.
And I feel like I want to teach more people that, because a lot of people,
Mm,
too many people don't live before they die.
yes.
And I like to live every day rejoicing.
Wow. That is so powerful, so insightful. Let me ask you, have you read the book Think and Grow Rich?
Of course.
Of course. I should have known. Yeah, this book literally changed my life. I was like 16, 17 years old when I first read it. It's just a different mindset, isn't it?
Yes,
Looking at
yes.
things, glass half full instead of half empty. Now, you've mentioned success. I'm sure your definition of success has changed, but because you've succeeded in corporate America, technology, publishing, Broadway, Hollywood, on and on and on and on. But what how is success different for you today than it was, let's say, 20, 25 years ago? Has the definition of success changed?
Sure. It has because I know more. And when I was 20, I was a kid. I was just trying to get my sea legs. I was writing the Declaration of Independence from my parents. And it's a funny story. I literally did that. I wrote a Declaration of Independence, told my dad he can't claim me on his taxes no more because I was the man, but he needed to keep paying that tuition. And he drove up there. He was like, "Oh, you're a man. I'm coming to see the man." And he came up there. He wanted to knock my head off, I believe. But he said, I've been raising this kid to be independent all his life. And now the minute he flexed a little bit, I want to hit him in the head. So he resolved to be my advisor and friend when he got up there. It was a 5-hour drive from where he was to where I
Wow.
was in school. And so our relationship is wonderful. We talk every day. I tell him jokes. My mom's having a little dementia, so he's the caregiver for her. My sister has
Mm,
special needs. My very first book was about her. But now, fast forward, my definition of success is broader.
yes.
It's what am I doing for the community? What am I doing for my people, my nation, my world? And
Yeah.
am I giving back more than I take? Am I preparing future generations? You know, if they don't learn, that means we didn't teach. A lot
Mm,
of people want to blame it on the young,
yes.
but if we're the ones that with the resources, disposable income, the gray hairs, the smarts, then it's on us to make sure they get what they need so
Mm,
they can expand the echo of our ancestors. We
yeah.
all are here for a little bit of time. And hopefully, we recognize that we're sparks in this grand design. And we have to let our
Mm,
spark light other sparks because at some point we're going to fade out. And before I fade away, I want to be of service. And
yeah.
so for me, success now is about building and lifting as I climb, and helping people to choose love
Yes.
and to let go of their ignorance. I mean, there are people. I think generally most human beings are good, but there are people who choose some really bad things or choose some bad leaders,
Yes.
thinking that they're doing the right thing. And what's happening is they're holding on tight to their biases, to
Hmm.
their ignorance,
Yeah.
and because sometimes that's easier than the uncertainty of enlightenment. Because with enlightenment comes responsibility. When you
Mm,
know better, you have to do better.
yes.
And sometimes it's easier just to have a willful unknowing.
Maya Angelou is the one who taught me that when you know better, you have to do better. You mentioned your younger self. What would you say to this young man out there, knowing what you know now with all of the reinvention and successes and accolades you've had, an extraordinary, really a legendary life? What if you could go back, standing at the edge of this incredible career and life you've had? What would you say to this teenager right there on the screen?
Oh, wow. Teenager, now that was me at 7.
Seven. Wow.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess
So
you
I
had
was,
wisdom beyond your years, sir. Wisdom beyond your years. What would you say to your
that's what,
7-year-old
that's what my folks tell me. I'd probably say eat more vegetables.
Yes. Wow. That
I'll
is
probably
so
say
beautiful.
eat more vegetables. I mean, I
But
have a
did
good
you
life.
have any idea, though, growing up like that, who you would become in the future and the impact you would have on this world?
I didn't. I was a kid. I was
Ah, a serious kid.
just happy that the kids in the neighborhood wasn't chasing me home too much from
Wow.
school. First day, the boy chased me home from school because I had on clothes like that. I think I had on some checker pants and a hat with flaps, some glasses, a little briefcase, and Mr. Business. Matter of fact, my books are inspired by me around that age and
Yeah.
getting chased home by my homeboy, who's my friend to this day. So I made him my friend. But it is. When you get to my age, you start saying, okay, if I exercise a little bit more, I can live a little longer, I can have a little joy. I got a few coins in my pocket, so I can actually enjoy using them. Because you start getting my age, man, you go into more funerals than birthdays.
Mm.
People have canes, and so I'm trying to put all that stuff on delay. I don't let the old man fool you. Now I can still cut a rug, and I
Yes.
enjoy time with my friends. And so it turns out that eating, what you put into your body, is really
Mm.
important for longevity. What you put into your mind. So I read probably 5, 6, 7 books a month. And often when I'm driving, I cook at my house and also do the cleaning. And so I'll put on my headphones and have a book on tape playing while
Yes.
I'm doing that. And the time just goes by. And I feel like I'm doing something good and doing something good for myself. And
Yeah.
so what I would have told my younger self is to start those things early, those habits.
Mm.
I work out every day. I don't go crazy.
Yes.
10 to 15 minutes, but I do some push-ups, I do some leg raises, do some crunches,
Mm.
every day, and try to get to 100. But what it's done is it made me in better shape at 60 than I was at
Wow.
at 25.
That's
And
amazing.
I've always been an athlete, so I like sports, but as you get older, the sports you used to play might not be as kind to you. And so you got to switch. So I'm probably going to switch to golf at some point. But I remember
Mm.
I was giving this talk one time, and I got a standing ovation, and then people had a few questions after, and they said they heard about my style of being up all hours of the night, sending emails at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. They said, Mr. Ford,
Yes.
you ran a big phone company, billions of dollars. Why do you still get up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
And I tell them, I work while you sleep so I can live like you dream. And
Wow.
then they're
Yes,
like,
that makes
okay,
sense.
wait a minute now. Say that again. I say, I work while you sleep like I live. I work while you sleep so I can live like you
Yes.
dream. Every now and then I'm in a local area. So I'm in maybe from somewhere in
Yes.
Virginia or especially in Richmond where I live. Some smarty pants will say, well, you can't be having no fun because I don't never see you at the club. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I say, you see my beautiful bride? You see that nice ride outside? We having a lot of fun. We just got back from
Yes.
South Africa or
Yeah.
Belize. And by the way, I never see you at the bank. And then they start to get it. We've got to redefine what
Yes.
success, what
Right.
joy means. And it's not just hanging out at the club and booty shaking. I mean, that's cool
Mm.
if you're into that. But joy is going to your child's recital,
Yes.
going to your child's game and supporting them and cheering them on, whether they're on the bench or the captain of the team.
Yes.
Joy is spending some time with that old person who thinks they're forgotten. My dad lights up. He's 80 some years old. Both my mom and my dad, they light up when I come by. And
Wow.
sometimes they're surprised. Sometimes I don't even tell them. And I just show up. My dad he laughs at every joke I tell him. Some of them some bad jokes too. And it is the company. It is the recognition that he's still alive.
Mm.
Sometimes we forget to appreciate the simple things, the things that people do with us to help us go on a little bit longer. And so
Mm.
I'm in a season now where we're having one of the best years of my life, and I'm taking time to smell the roses and to
Yes.
present the roses to people that deserve it.
Wow, that is just amazing. Uh, and one thing you said, but even looking back at this picture, you were a little bit different. I didn't wear a suit when I was 7 years old. So it looks like there is that image of excellence and not accepting mediocrity or the label that society would put on you,
Yeah.
being black or immigrant or whatever the case might be. I guess one question I have is, where did that determination? Because you even wrote, I think, at least 8 children's books, but I think it's about 10, maybe a dozen. But for this series, Mr. Business, I think it's volume 1, and you just published volume 8, if I'm not
Yeah, you got it
mistaken.
right. The 8, and then we did a middle school reader there, and then we shifted to Tale of the Tea, which won a National Book Award,
Wow, that's
and then I did the Blueprint and Blueprint Part Two, and helped a few others to get books published. So
wow, that's
all told,
amazing.
I'm connected to about 19 books and
Wow.
16 that I wrote myself. I started with children's books because
Yes.
I realized that children were like a incomplete molded an
Mhm.
incomplete ball of clay, and I could mold them and help to mold their psyche and how they thought
Mm.
about themselves. And the brain science here is that when children recognize or identify with the characters on the cover of a book or inside a book, they are
Mm.
3 to 10 times more likely to believe they can
Yes.
do what those characters do. And so I
Wow.
realized that if I start with children's books and give them some positive ways to deal with having to wear glasses, maybe, or the first day of school and the bully, or uh, proper touch,
Yes.
that it would help them in a fun way to navigate life. And then it was around the time where George Floyd was murdered and monuments and things started coming down that I wrote Tale of the T. And
Yeah.
that book was designed to have an honest conversation with someone and showing that through communication, we can improve our lives and our coexistence with others. So I wrote that with a
Yes.
wonderful gentleman from the Jewish community named Jonathan Blank.
Yes.
And he's one of my wife's law partners. And that book was very well received. And then somebody asked me to write something biographical. So I wrote the blueprint, which was fun. And it was a collection of musings from our magazine,
Mhm.
Soul Vision magazine. And then we ran that for about 4 years. And then after I rediscovered Men of Mark,
Yeah.
and that has 1,300 pages of essays. I said, all right, let me do a mini
Hmm.
Men of Mark that has sheroes and heroes, so men and women in it. And I put the stories in of a few friends and some new acquaintances and how they made a way out of no way, how
That's
they
very nice.
achieved. And so it's people from all walks of life. It's all kinds of
I
ethnicities and
love it.
genders and orientations. But for the most part, the stories are amazing. And if
Mm.
someone reads those stories, what I hope is they'll get inspiration for their life.
Yes.
Uh, and so then my next book, I'm working on two. One is about me and my wife. It's called Turn Left: 777 Incidents of Love. And the
Mm.
first line goes, Turn left. It was the second time I heard the voice of God and the first time I listened, and my life has never been the same. So that's
Wow.
how that one starts. And then I'm writing a book called Musings, and I haven't thought about what the subtitle will be, but right now, Musings is the working title, and it'll be a collection of essays and speeches and
Wow.
things that I've done over the years, commencement addresses.
Yes.
I just got an honorary doctorate this year from Norfolk State University,
Yes, sir.
so I'm gonna thank you. So I'm gonna put that commencement address in there, and just anything that I write between now, well, between 2020 and getting through my next projects, and then I'll compile all that stuff. It'll probably be a couple hundred pages,
Wow.
but hopefully it'll be funny and enlightening, because I think joy is a way to get in some good medicine. So I
Yes.
try to keep joy in my projects.
Wow. Laughter as a medicine. That is powerful. So having said all of that, what leadership principle, Dr. BK Fulton, have remained constant across every industry you've been in?
Being authentic. I'm always that guy that's on that's a problem solver. In the
Yes.
main, if you tell me something and something we need to fix, my mind goes into problem solving mode. I
Mm.
am not a one. I'm not one. People want to. Oh, let's define the problem, and so
Yes.
they'll spend 80% of the meeting talking about what somebody didn't do, something that went wrong, whatever. I don't need the whole meeting for that. Give me 20% of the meeting to make sure I understand what is at issue. And then let's spend the rest of the meeting coming up with the solution.
Wow.
Because, I think problem identification, if you stay in it too long, it's another form of navel gazing, another form of
Yes.
inaction, another form of I don't know what to do. So I'll just say what everybody else is saying about what ain't being done. And but I'm the guy you want on the team that's gonna move the flag up the hill. Now you might not always like my methods, but if you have an alternative, bring it. But what
Mm.
you find is people are quick to critique and slow to create. And what I want to do is be a catalyst for cultural engineers. And I want
Yeah.
my art to inspire people to not only build up their best life, but
Mm.
be a catalyst in building up the lives of others. Then we are accountable to the human family, to an America that is striving towards its principles,
Yes.
expanding the we,
Yes.
and being genuine and fair about it. Right now, we
Mm.
talk like we want we, but then we act like it's just a few people.
Yes. Yes. Wow. I think what you just said made me think of it was President Roosevelt White speech about the man in the arena, sort of being a spectator, but being there, doing it even when you make mistake, getting back up and just keep going. That's fabulous. Okay, I know we only have about 15 minutes left, or actually less than that. I do want to talk about your book, but let's talk about storytelling, because it looks like in everything you do, you are always telling a story. And one of your saying is, art punches above its weight. What do you mean by that, Dr. Fulton?
What that means is that with art, we can say some things that are harder in conversation,
Yes.
or harder in uh, in the office, harder at the family table.
Mm,
Art on a screen or a painting or a great sculpture, you can't fuss with it. It don't talk. It ain't gonna listen to you. You know, it is something there, and you take it in, and
mm,
it can stir, and great art can stir your soul.
yes.
It can make you. It makes you think, and we are designed to be thinking creatures,
Yes.
and so that idea of art punching above its weight is critically important. So when artists, when times are tough, it's when artists are really especially
Yes.
needed. And my mentor Nikki Giovanni taught me that. She was a professor of mine of poetry, and she wrote the cover quote on the back of my first book about my little sister.
Mm,
And the last time I had chitlins was at her house, and she made them for me in Christiansburg, Virginia. And I loved Nikki and was so sorry to see her go, but was happy to bestow upon her the
mm,
Virginia Laureate's Medal, which is the highest literary medal you can get from
yes.
my home state. And I
Wow.
put that around her neck and was there with her when she got it, and just a little bit before she passed. And so it was one of the privileges of my life to have a
Mm,
person like that in my life, and I try to be a person like that for others. I mean, there are many people
yes.
who got their careers jump started or restarted or launched because of one of our productions.
Wow.
And I will
Amazing.
always cherish that.
Really amazing. And why do you believe that stories can really change people in ways that statistic, presentation, logic just never can?
Because our lives are so influenced by stories. I mean, the Bible is what? A collection of stories. And it's the most common book that people have
Mhm.
or read. Um, there's a principle called the Rosenthal effect. And
Yes.
so, where in 1965, a scientist told these educators that these 10 kids are special, super
Mm,
special, and they're going to excel in your class. Make sure you give them proper attention. And what happened? Those kids excelled in class. They
yes.
were called on a lot, they were supported, and then he told them they actually were just chosen at random. I told you they were special, and I
Yeah.
told them they were special. Everybody believed it and act accordingly.
Wow.
They repeated it with adults, same thing happened. And so what you find is, and it's that people believe, the mind believes the story you tell it, and
Hmm.
also it works in reverse. So if you
Yes.
tell them you're just slaves, you're not smart, you're no good,
Mhm. That's exactly.
people can internalize that and will believe it.
Yes.
And if you and so Carter G. Woodson, famous miseducation of the Negro, for people improperly trained who are, and so they're accustomed to taking the back door. If there's
Mhm.
no back door, they will create one rather than
Yes.
go through the front.
Wow.
And so applying that science, I realize that if they can, if they believe they are fooled, then let me tell them the truth, that they're
Yes.
actually descendants of genius,
Mm.
and their ancestors have always been geniuses, have always been creators, have
Yes.
always been excellence, have been the definition of excellence.
Yes.
Then they will act accordingly. But it's easier to do that with art and stories
Yes.
than it is with just simple words. You know, we tell people all the time, you can be anything you want to be.
Mm.
And that's an interesting platitude, but it is insufficient as
Yes.
as a blueprint or counseling or coaching. It's not a sufficient intervention. But
Yes.
if I tell you you can be anything and then show you the way, take this step, take this step, take
Mm.
this step, wash and repeat,
Yeah.
then they internalize the formula. And when they become successful, they reach back and say, oh my God, I'll give you a quick example. There was a young man. He had a business. He had a closing company where they did the final paperwork on mortgage deals. And my wife and I were buying a property. This young brother comes in there with one of them wild haircuts, had a lumberjack shirt on, no jacket. And so we just sitting there. And then at some point, 5, 6 minutes go by. I say, are we waiting for anybody? He's like, oh no, I didn't know if you were ready or not. I was like, well, okay. And we're the only three black people in the place. And I said, are you open to some coaching? He's like, I think I know what you're gonna say, but yeah, lay it on me. I was like, well, the reason I asked you that question is because you didn't look like what I expected to be handling this scale of business. And I'm on your side.
Yes.
But what you presented to me looked like something else, like you were an assistant and we
Mm.
were waiting for the boss. And he said, no, I dress like this for the girls. And then I looked at my wife and she's looking all good. And I'm like, if you get your money right, you ain't gonna have no problem with the girls. But consider what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
said, thank you. We finished the paperwork. And then about 6 months later, we get this email. And he said, Mr. Fulton, as you can tell by the picture, I followed your advice and my business has exploded 3 times.
Amazing.
The picture had him with a haircut, looking sharp and clean, a white shirt, and a blue blazer. He said, this is now how I go to my meetings and I get more business. And so, so sometimes our folk just need a little polish, need a little coaching. He was the same guy,
Yes.
but he was given an insight that no one had ever shared with him before.
Mhm.
And he
Powerful.
took that insight and turned it into an empire. And so
Powerful.
he'll be retired, the next few years.
That's amazing.
And I told him the only thing you owe me is to pay it forward because you're gonna run into a brother or a sister or somebody from another community that
Mhm.
needs your help and needs you to tell them what I told
Mhm.
you
So
and tell them
powerful.
your version of it.
Yeah.
But we all have to appreciate that if our kids don't learn, it's because we didn't teach.
So powerful. That's why I think it's so important. But we won't have time to talk about this on this podcast. But the kids' books that you are writing, getting them at that young age and having them to dream, to just think of possibilities and having stories where they can relate, that is so, so powerful. So we won't have time to go through the first book, The Blueprint. We only have about 10 minutes left. But I do need to talk about your latest book, The Blueprint Part 2. Actually, before I do, we do have one question from the audience. Daniel, I believe, sent a question, let's say, from YouTube. He says, what is one practical way to begin mastering the art of behavior excellence for a new leader?
Sure. What I tell everybody, great question. What I tell everybody is to identify 3 or 4 people that you respect. So in this case, I'd identify 3 or 4 leaders that you
Mhm.
respect. Read the short version of their bio. I'm not giving you a 5-hour
Yes.
homework assignment. Go to Wikipedia, read the 5-hour version of their bio, isolate the common denominators of their success, the
Mm,
common things that they did, then you do those things. You
yeah.
go to work. If you're already finished your schooling and you're looking to uh, level up in your current career, then it's the practical things of
Yes.
identify someone who's doing that job and start to spend time with them.
Mm,
Uh, if you're in the creative community, surround yourself, start going to the festivals, join the affinity groups that are
yeah.
for producers. Find yourself in the company of the people who are experts at the craft that you're interested in. And before
Mm,
you know it, you become a part of that community and become the expert like others in that community. But it's really about engaging, whether you're writing a 60-year plan as I did at 20 years old, or whether you're signing up and going to the affinity groups, engaging. And then learn to trust who you are, because I think the biggest mistake, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they look outside for their inspiration, assuming that there's nothing they already know how to do that
yes.
can contribute to what they want to do. And what I find is the opposite. Usually, most of the stuff you need is in you.
Mm.
and then it's about exercising the talents that you have. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can,
Yes.
and then grow that, and then wash and repeat and do it again, this time with more resources. Do it again,
Mm.
this time with more resources, more know-how.
Wow.
And before you know it, you find yourself deep into the success end of the pool.
That is really powerful. With the time we have left, I want to talk about your second book, right? Part
Okay.
two, The Blueprint. You've interviewed, I think, over 52, right? I believe,
Yes.
really
Yes.
luminaries, and you wrote about them. I guess one question I have is, what surprised you the most after interviewing and writing about such excellent and really,
Sure.
really people?
Almost to a person, they when I asked them uh, what was their greatest accomplishment, almost everyone said they're not finished yet, so they don't know
Wow.
that
Good.
there's still a work in progress. Think about that. All those successful people. I mean, the co-founder of Netflix,
Mm.
Mark said, "BK, I'm hitting higher gears, brother." You
Wow.
know, the former CEO of the Urban League, still writing, still thinking. Jeffrey Wright, still learning,
Yes.
still trying to share, still perfecting his craft. One of the best
Amazing.
artists the world has ever produced, but still going. And so what you find is that as long as you have breath, you're not done.
That is really amazing because in the book, Think and Grow Rich, just exactly what Napoleon Hill did. Andrew Carnegie was his biggest mentor, but he introduced him to all of the movers and shakers of his time. And that's what you read in The Men of Mark. And that's exactly what you are doing with the Blueprint Part 2. And based on what you just said, sir, why do you think so many of these leaders believe that their best is still yet to come when they have accomplished so much? Why is lifelong growth such an important mindset?
Because one of the things that you learn as you get older and wiser is you learn how much you really don't know.
Mm,
When you're younger and let me learn calculus, let me learn geometry, let me learn economics. And you
yes,
think after you pass the class, you're done.
yeah.
In life,
Like,
you're never
that
done.
used to be true,
Yeah,
but
exactly. In life, you're never done. In
yes,
life, there's always more to know. And in fact, so think about this. Over the eons of medical practice, we come up with these things that work generally for everybody.
yes,
But turns out the best medicines are often the medicines that are designed for your specific DNA.
yes.
And then it starts to make sense. Well, yeah, because if I'm taking a medicine
Mm,
that's just generic, then it gets most of my symptoms in this category as it works for
mhm,
everybody else. But if
yes,
I'm taking a medicine that's tailor crafted for my particular issue,
yes.
the efficacy or
Mm,
effectiveness is going to be higher.
so
Same
powerful.
way, same thing with books. So the reason that Lewis Latimer book hit me the way it did,
Yes.
because he looked like me and I
Hmm.
could relate to him. And so all the excuses that I was taught, brown people don't do this, black
Yes.
people don't do that.
Yes.
These guys shattered that because it's the
Wow.
words and the pictures. So I can
That
see
is
that they look
powerful.
like me. And
Yes.
so that's a medicine that's calibrated for me. Now that I
So
got that medicine,
powerful.
here's the beauty of it. I can interact with anybody and anybody can learn from that excellence. I needed it because my psyche was polluted
Yes.
with these theories that were designed to suppress my genius, to
Mm.
suppress my curiosity, to suppress my belief in myself. So
That,
I needed the medicine that would unleash that. But when I
wow.
unleash it, the beauty is everybody gets the benefit of the love. The civil rights movement was
Powerful.
largely pushed by a subset of America, African Americans, with some whites, a lot of Jewish folk. I mean, over half the freedom riders were Jewish. A lot of people don't know that. But so there were certain groups who were oppressed or who knew oppression,
Hmm.
who worked to get civil rights for everybody.
Yes,
And
yes,
so just because I get some medicine for me doesn't mean it's not going to benefit all of society of the world.
yes.
And we get inspiration from things, the Odyssey,
Mm,
great shows like this that try to share some truth and share some joy, share some enlightenment, and anyone can benefit
mm.
from it. And
So
so
powerful.
it's really important to not forget that
Mm.
at most things in our journey, we are the centerpiece. We are at the epicenter.
That is so powerful. Representation does matter. It matters greatly. Like for me, I would have never been a commander in the U.S. Navy for two main group of people. One, the Golden 13, the first 13 black officers, which only happened in 1944, March 1944. My father was 1 year old, so it's not ancient history. It's very, very, very
Yeah.
recent.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, when I became an officer family, General Colin Powell, seeing him, a black man, becoming 4-star general, chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. Every time I wanted to quit, I looked at his book, I read My American Journey. I'm like, there is no way I'm going to quit today. Maybe tomorrow, but not
Not
today. And
today. Not today.
eventually, I had the chance of being mentored by him and meeting him face to face. But even from a distance, a man like that really made all the difference. I don't know how many other black officers he has impacted for us. His life, but yes, representation matters. It matters greatly. So we do need to end the show, but I must ask you about the book. If someone finishes reading the Blueprint Part 2, which I ended up finishing late last night, what is one transformation that you really hope takes place in their thinking?
I hope that people believe that they are enough, that
Yes,
they can do all things with righteous work if they pull in help that is aligned with their view, and that they can be a resource for others. Because
yes,
that's the other thing. None of us come here to stay, and we all can serve. And so, serving, that expanded definition of success, is something that I hope people walk away with. I often, in my speeches with this, and my prayer for the audience, is that they love themselves enough to
mm,
give their dreams a chance.
wow. That's so powerful. All right, we do need to end the show. Before I ask you the last question, I want to ask if you were to imagine that we are sitting here again exactly 20 years from today, people are celebrating the incredible legacy you've left behind, movies, your Broadways, your books, and everything else. What do you hope they say about the way you loved people, developed leaders, and changed the world?
Wow, that's a deep question. I hope they say this was a brother who didn't know when he started
Hmm.
that he could end on top of the world.
Wow. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, we do have to leave it there. I'm running out of time, not of content. So, what can we do, sir, to add value back to you? Thanks so much for giving us an hour of your time. We really do appreciate that. What can we do to add value back to you?
I appreciate it. You can check out my Instagram, BK Fulton. Check out my LinkedIn, BK Fulton. You can go online and buy the books. Everything's on Amazon. The films are anywhere you download streaming or purchase films. Support the work that's coming out. We've got the sequel to the March of the Penguins coming out next year. We've
Wow.
got W.E.B. Du Bois, Rebel with the Cause, that's already out, and it's an eye opener. People have given it really great reviews. So support the work generally. And you can find me at www.bkfulton.com, and it'll link you to all the projects and all that I'm doing.
That is amazing. Well, thank you so much, sir, for your time. Really, really do appreciate that. Uh, I think we are going to have to leave it here. I do respect your time and really sharing your expertise, your knowledge, and your wisdom with us. I am so grateful. I guess the last question I'm going to ask: what is one word, sir, that describe in one word or one thought your time, your experience on this podcast today?
Fun.
Fun. Yes, yes, and I am so grateful. Thank you again. Really appreciate that.
You
Well,
too, brother.
everybody, this is the legendary Dr. BK Fulton. I can't believe we just added the time to speak with him, and I think really what he's talking about today could literally change your life. It is just amazing. So I am so grateful for that. I am going to play just a little bit more about him on our way out of the podcast today. And I want to remind you guys, in about a couple of hours, I'm going to be back and I'm going to be speaking to Coach Todd Marshall Ernstberger. He's written the best-selling book about dysfunctional leader. We're going to be talking from dysfunction to flourishing, right? How to build healthy leaders and healthy organization. That's going to be today in a couple of hours. And thank you so much for watching. And like I always do, I'm going to end the show with a song for freedom. Since Juneteenth today, we've really been celebrating freedom for everyone, right? Like Pat Henry says, no, give me liberty or give me death. If I'm not going to be a free man, you'd rather kill me, because there is just no way I'm going to be in bondage to anyone. And I believe that's really what America is all about from our founding ideal, right? All men are created equal. And God has given us that right to life, to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All right, that's going to be it for today. And thanks again for watching. Bye for now.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, free.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.